One of Hot Rod Magazine's best-known project cars is the Crusher Camaro. And on this episode of Hot Rod Unlimited, you're going to get to see a little bit of the history of the car and then come with us to the drag strip for the very first time to see how it runs with its new blown big block. The Crusher Camaro is one of few cars to have appeared on the cover of Hot Rod 3 times, 1995, 2003, and 2009. The Crusher's been with Hot Rod since 1994 when we set out to prove that there was a California emissions law that was completely bogus. The state was letting oil companies buy cars and crush them in exchange for a smog credit that would let them pollute from their refineries. And so what we did is we went to a junkyard parking lot where they were buying these cars in and just went on the hunt for a car that we could use for a project. And I spotted a 67 Camaro and I thought there's no way the guy's crushing this thing, but he was. And so we bought the car for $700 bucks. The first thing we did is turned it into a smog-friendly street machine that ran 12s and drove on the very first power tour. Next, we threw the whole greeny thing aside and put a 632 cubic inch big block in it and gave it a pro touring look. Honestly, we didn't like it that much, and the thing was stripped apart and sat in our shop for 5 years, and it was a mess when finally I brought it back and thought I would make sort of a 70s street machine out of it. And we didn't go all the way. We just put some Kragers on it, gave it a nose-high stance, and put a small block in it that ran low 12s. It was pretty cool. But next, I went all hanging out. Built a blown big block Chevy, raised the nose of it even more, put on a Grant steering wheel. This thing is a flashback to 1978. At Hot Rod, we are not about trailer queens. We're all about really using the cars. So to practice what we preach, we took the Crusher on a 1,000-mile road trip from LA all the way to Scottsdale, Arizona and back. It ran mint. Well, the road trip was cool, but I wanted to know how quick the thing is. So today we're taking it to the drag strip for the very first time with this setup. Rolled into Auto Club Dragway and the weather's looking pretty good. I'm not so sure about the track prep and I don't know if this thing's gonna hook up because it is so nose heavy. Let's bolt the slicks on and see what we can do. You know you're cool when you have fireproof socks. Chicks dig it. I have fireproof underwear too. They really dig that. We're gonna throw on a set of 30x9 Hoosier radial slicks and that's it. Otherwise, this is the straight up configuration, just like we drove it 1,000 miles, and just like we drove it to the track today. We're gonna run on legit 91 octane pump gas. First pass, 1070 at almost 125. Dude, I'm stoked. I just left completely off idle and it hooked up and went. It cut like a 1.560 foot. I want to go straight around to another pass, see if heating the blower up really makes a difference. That pass was at 1083, but the mile an hour was the same, 124.9. Thing is, I got greedy and torqued the thing up against the converter to try and leave harder, and I lost all my AT in the 60 foot. It was a 10th slower 60 foot, but by bench racing standards, that's a backup pass. We should pull a plug on every single pass and just have a look what's really going on inside the motor.
Okay, open up the MSD and turn on the ignition. Go to the bottom where we're pulling ignition for boost.
The fuel tune-up looked pretty good, but we thought we might be able to add one more degree of ignition advance. But we did that and the car slowed down to the worst pass of the day.
So that boot broke in half in between passes and we just butchered it back together and fixed it with some electrical tape. And now we're gonna go make another lap in the Crusher and hopefully do a little better than 1070.
Turns out we really only wanted half a degree of timing advance added, and we ran the fastest pass of the day, 1062 at 126 miles an hour. The Crusher Camaro is awesome. Everybody looks at the thing. We could drive it 1,000 miles to Arizona and back, and now it runs 1062 at 126 miles an hour here at the drag strip. And that's on pump gas. But the question is, what do we do with it next? I'm thinking it needs to be faster. Maybe some lower rear gears, a little bit more boost, chassis tuning. Gotta run that 990 just at least one time. And if we do, you'll see it right here on Hot Rod Unlimited.